Alongside the youngest man to ever start a conference championship game. We learned that on Fox. And a gentleman who will be contributing
USA.
quite a bit.
Rich Rod.
Yes.
And Terry.
And I thought that what happened to me was the worst thing that could ever happen to you, which is losing in that game. Like, it's painful. But I did not tear my UCL. I didn't have to have Tommy John surgery. So shout out to Brock Purdy. I was hoping he was going to be the first rookie to actually help his team win the game. But, man, I hope the rehab goes well.
I ruined your intro. I'm sorry.
Well, let's properly introduce. I don't know if he's the newest, but he's the latest in my eyes. Member of the Fox family, Chris Fallica. The Bear is in the house on some business, picking up some cash from the Circa football Friday football competition, and that was so fun. So many great handicappers a part of that. Derek putting up the money, Matt, kind of being the MC of it all. So tell the people who did not keep tabs on that final stretch, what did you need? Because the Football Friday contest was NFL, college incorporated, and the final week was the national championship, right?
That was the final game. So it actually, my demise, well, you want to say demise, but my angst really started the previous week when Tulane had an improbable comeback to beat USC because a couple people right behind me had Tulane. So I'm sitting there on the couch on New Year's Day with a lot of swear words coming out of my mouth when this is happening. So I basically could have wrapped this up. So then it comes down to the final week. I just need to avoid going 0-5, and I'm going to win. So I'm sitting there on Sunday. I had the Broncos, which should have been a winner, but Brandon Staley decided
go
not
for
to
two.
send
I had
anybody.
the Broncos too for
and then
far less importance.
And then I had the Colts.
Oh,
and that was also one. So I'm sitting there on Monday now, 0-3, with under 63, whatever it was in the title game, and then Georgia. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to win one of these. So just thank God Georgia made it easy for me on Monday night, and it was stress-free.
That Colts game, and there was someone in Circa Survivor who had the Colts. That is just absolute agony.
I don't know. And then even before that, the couple of weeks beforehand, I had the Bucks against the Bengals when they led 17 right out of the gate. And on that same day, I had the Jets against the Lions. And they gave up a fourth and whatever to the seventh-string tight end who ran. So it's like I had an unbelievable run of bad luck, and fortunately, we still survived.
Well, you're here.
Congratulations, man.
And I reinvested a little bit today.
I want to get to what you. By the way, I heard you on pour one out for the Stanford Steve and the Bear podcast. Love that program. Love you two guys together. But I did hear you at some point on that program mention this guy's name about a bet that you had. So what was on the line between USF? Because, Sean just can't get over that he recruited some of these guys.
I don't even remember what it was. Might have just been
pride.
Might have just been good old bragging rights, which is perfect with him.
We'll look it up.
That hurts. It hurts him more than just the pride alone. But that's I can't blame him because obviously he recruited so many of these guys and he saw something obviously in all these guys. But that's how I could never be a college coach, because your career is hanging on judging 17, 18-year-old kids as recruits and being able to guess, is this their peak? Are they going to get better? Are they coachable? And they just don't pan out the way you think they can. And now you add in the different layers of NIL, and it's like, I couldn't.
It's the only profession that ruins Christmas every year. Every year at Christmas,
believe it.
You're on the phone, you're wondering if the knucklehead going to do what he said he's going to do. Your coach might get a job. You're wondering if he's going to take you. Your coach might get fired. It ruins Christmas every year.
Well, and then as a Notre Dame fan, I'm learning right now, you learned firsthand with some, who was it? Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford.
You had locked up to go to USF, and here comes Papa Saban to take your guy away. And I'm feeling that way right now as the Alabama jet was in South Bend today to take Tommy Rees away. Not official, but certainly seems likely. Bear, I'm curious, a guy who covers college football as closely as you do, and, I know Stanford Steve, I think, has a personal relationship with Tommy Rees. What do you think of this move. Once again, not official, but seems likely that Saban's going to grab Tommy Rees to replace Bill O'Brien.
It's interesting because it's not one of the recent, style of offense hires that he's had. It's not the wide open type. It's kind of more of a pro-style deal. We're utilizing tight ends. So it'll be interesting to see. And it's funny because, like you said, Stanford Steve has a relationship with them. And it's just interesting how this is a guy that Notre Dame fans at the beginning of the year were upset with. They didn't want to. He's terrible. And he's got quarterback injuries. And now you're going to lose him. We'll see the reaction. Now it's, we can't lose him. So it's just funny how it goes. But I think that if that is where they go with Nick, I think it's going to show a little bit more of a maybe a change in direction in the offense that they play, and maybe it's going to be more of a defensive-minded mentality like he had earlier in his career. So we'll see.
It's interesting because I wonder how much factors into this that Bryce Young is gone. Mm-hmm. And when we saw Milroe have to play versus Arkansas, he didn't look like the next coming of this lineage of great quarterbacks he's had. I mean, that's what would scare me the most is what am I walking into? Right. Because regardless of who's in that quarterback room, the Crimson Tide faithful expect to be in the SEC championship game and playing for the national title.
And you're leaving Sam Hartman going to Notre Dame now, who's going to have probably a really good year.
So let me ask you this. I don't know, and I'm putting you on the spot. Mm-hmm. I don't know the rules. It doesn't feel like there are rules. So
there aren't any.
My worst nightmare right now, Bear, as a Notre Dame fan, is obviously it seems like when the Jet shows up, he's probably getting on there and he ain't coming back.
I would imagine so.
So does Sam Hartman stay? That's what I don't know. Could he follow? Are there? I don't know the rules.
If he's enrolled, I can't imagine. Well, I think once you're enrolled, you're kind of.
But then the semester ends. Could he show up in June?
Supposedly, you get a one-time non-penalty transfer.
But he's a graduate.
Yeah, I was going to say, but he's a graduate. But then also the kid that was at USC, that went to Georgia, that went to West Virginia.
Oh, JT Daniels.
JT Daniels. I mean, so he obviously. There's some way to usurp the rule.
And I know we're just spitballing here, but wasn't Garrett Dagey, didn't he go to Western Kentucky? Then he went to Troy during fall camp?
So he probably can. He could probably go if he wanted to.
Oh, man.
That would be
I thought sweating out UAB was tough enough. Now I got to worry about Sam Hartman, whether or not he's going to stay.
Too, because I was talking with some people yesterday when I was out in LA at Fox meetings, and we were talking before I went on Herd, and they were asking about teams that I thought could kind of be this year's TCU, and I go, I know they were 9-4 or whatever, but Notre Dame, you look at the schedule, you get SC at home in October,
Ohio State,
you get Ohio State at home, and who knows what their quarterback situation is going to be, and who may stay, who may go, and then you have Clemson, and it's a perfect time, I think, to get Clemson. I mean, they got the new coordinator coming in, but at the same time, their defense is going to be sound. You would think with Hartman, their offense would be good. So they were a team that I thought would be a little bit undervalued, as undervalued as Notre Dame could ever be with their name and their following. I thought they were someone, and obviously Oklahoma, I think with Jackson Arnold coming in now, like Levy turned down Alabama because he's so excited about the possibility to work with Jackson Arnold. They've recruited well, and I think last year Venables kind of got to cleanse the program, I think, a little bit, and I think they'll be better off this year as well. That league's winnable.
Is they better be. Because the league they're going into the following year.
Oh yeah.
Slightly different.
They in Texas are in for a little bit of a
The Bear is in studio with us. Chris Fallica, his new role at Fox. I want to get into the specifics of that on the other side of the break. Also, Sean has a Kentucky Derby long shot, so I'll let you guys talk the ponies on the other side. Looking ahead to college football, we're always thinking about it. You're a Miami guy.
Yeah.
So the arch rival of the Canes, Florida State, they've got a lot of buzz. I saw someone on Twitter say that Florida State will be this year's NC State, and that's not a good thing because NC State had all this hype, right, going into last year, and then the injury happened. How high are you on Florida State? What are the realistic potential of Florida State?
To win the ACC.
Yeah.
And I get that parallel, but at the same time, I don't want to sound like I'm demeaning NC State or anything, but NC State never had the level of success and recruited the type of player that Florida State does.
A long time since Phillip Rivers played.
Yeah, Florida State turned a corner this year, I think.
I agree.
And you talk about a guy who had I don't think people really understood where that program was left by Jimbo and Willie Taggart. The issues that were there were, I mean, Norvell had to really just run some guys off, and I think finally he has a good, and to get Verse to stay and your quarterback stays, they are the off-season bowl momentum hype team of 2023.
He doesn't get enough credit for the job he did with Jordan Travis.
No.
If you look at Jordan Travis 2 years ago and last year, I mean, it's like it's a different player.
I mean, think about Bear. Last year, when LSU and Florida State opened up the season, it was kind of like, okay, Brian Kelly's first year, Florida State, what are they? It was a great game. This year, that build-up in Orlando, whoo, buddy, that is going to be a game to start the season. And by the way, Florida State also added the MAC transfer, who was highly sought after. I think Western Michigan. So they're not just a good quarterback; they got
Mike Norvell's a good coach.
I like Mike Norvell.
I mean, people forget at Memphis he recruited Tony Pollard and Antonio Gibson. Like he had NFL guys, all around that program. He did a great job. He's a good coach.
And that's what I love about Mike Norvell. I remember when game day was there, and we covered one thing, like the emphasis on special teams, and then he sells that to players and recruits like this is an avenue to the league. You excel in the return game, you excel in special teams, and that. I mean, they had years in a row, like in terms of like EPA, like one of the best special teams units in the country. And the year they wound up making the Cotton Bowl, that was one of them.
So the Bear apparently was out firing today. We got to find out what he was firing on. He's sticking around one more segment. Chris Fallica from Fox, VSiN Primetime. Alongside Shaun King, I am Tim Murray, joined in studio by Fox Sports. Is going to take some time to get used to that.
Exactly.
Chris Fallica.
Well, for me, too.
The Bear. Yeah, how many years at ESPN?
I was 28 years at ESPN, 27 on game day.
Wow. All right, so before we get into...
This is the GOAT.
I know.
Like, he changed the entire accepted narrative when it comes to sports.
To sports in general.
In sports and this space. Like, when they presented the new segment on game day where he took the Bear and it had the actual spread there and he put it on one side, like I'm actually getting to be in studio with a guy that changed the game.
You're just trying to be nice because he's just going to forget about the USF bet you lost.
No, that's already forgotten. No, I appreciate.
I got called to HR when I brought it up when I was there. So.
I'll tell you what. I appreciate you saying that and recognizing that, because that's the thing that I am most proud of at my time at ESPN and Game Day. We were the first show, even predating the board and the picks. Like Chris Fowler and I, we would weave in spread-related nuggets, or like, hey. And Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State, last 10 games, he's been an underdog. They've won 9 of them outright. Like we've worked, like we weren't naive enough to be like, oh, people are betting on games. They want information. They want, and we tried to present it in an informative and educational and entertaining type of way. And even, like I said, even before Bears board, I think we achieved that. And to be the first show at ESPN to really just kind of openly embrace it was, and get recognized for it. It was good because, I mean, when you were at ESPN and you were talking about it, the graphics team and the research department, you had to have like San Francisco and like a red color swatch. You couldn't say 49ers with the 49ers logo, New York A, New York N, New England. You couldn't give like a team nickname with an NFL logo because it was still taboo at that point. And now you've got sponsorships all over the NFL and everything. So it's great how the whole landscape has changed.
It is, because it makes it entertaining for a large group of people that otherwise probably would be doing something else. You know.
Chris Fallica joining us in studio. Before I get to what you are firing on today, I think a lot of people want to know. The press release came out yesterday, but what are your roles going to be in the new space?
It's going to be a lot of the same type of coverage. Fox has the Belmont Stakes this year,
nice.
So I'm going to be involved in the Belmont Stakes coverage. I'm really looking forward to, being a Long Island guy who's been to numerous Belmont Stakes. They have 3 major soccer tournaments coming up in the next couple of years.
You love it.
We got the Women's World Cup in Australia this year. Next year we have the Euros in Germany, and then 2026 the World Cup on this continent, in Canada and Mexico as well. So being involved in that and the other soccer tournaments that they have, and then of course college football, which is near and dear to my heart. So it'll be a lot of the same types of things in the TV space, doing those, and I'm sure we'll be doing podcasting and writing as well, is they're really looking to re-emphasize their digital landscape. And got them with Mike Buckland, who I worked with at ESPN, runs their digital space now. So I'm looking forward to reuniting with Mike and doing some things there. So I'm really it was amazing to be there yesterday and meet new people and run into people who I have worked with or interacted with in the past. So I'm really looking forward to it. Everything that's happened since I decided to make the move reaffirmed the decision that I made the correct one.
Well, it looks like we're going to New York in June. Start spreading.
Absolutely. June 10th. June 10th.
Guest
Come on
picker
in.
for the Belmont Stakes as cage match.
There you go.
Ooh.
Goes for the Triple Crown. I gave this to Dwayne Colucci from Rampart. He's a big guy when it comes to horse racing. I know you love the ponies as well. So I was looking at the futures book for the Kentucky Derby, and of course you've got Forte and some of the known horses. And Brad Cox, I love him, but he has like 9 horses that I can't differentiate.
Exactly, they're all the same.
But something that stood out, there is a horse that has not run yet named Cage Match, trained by Saffie Joseph. He's Gormley's his dad. He's out of an Intermischief mare. He's got great works, and why he stood out, and we had talked about this during the break, and you understood what I was saying. Normally a horse that hasn't run would only be in the field in the future book. He wouldn't be a standalone entry. Cage Match sits at 50-1. He's supposed to be running one of these upcoming weekends, I think at Fairgrounds or Oaklawn. Can I intrigue you on maybe a little Cage Match?
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about what they do here at Circa and William Hill as well. Remember Johnny Avello at Wynn used to be like the only winter book that had all of the odds for all these individual horses. And now he's at DraftKings now, but to see Metcalf and the crew here post individual horses going deep. Because I don't think I've had a future book winner like that. I had Orb at 125-1 the year that he won. So I'm still ahead on that, going back, what was it, 2012 or 13, I think.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good one. And I would, a friend of mine on Twitter, he gave me Expect More, which was crushed in the wagering. Literally, he bet it and it got crushed. It's at 27-1. And you can't bet a horse who's a maiden still at 27-1. And the other one was Sergeant Pepper, was the other horse that he gave me as well. So I think he was still around 150-1 or so when I checked.
The biggest one I've ever hit was 2008. He looked it up early. I forgot the year.
I'm
sitting at Bellagio, and there's this grass race for a 3-year-old colts never won a race. It's a maiden race, and man, this brown colt comes outside, and I was outside post at Saratoga.
But
it was on grass,
straight to the front. Yep.
And I was like, well, you know what? Let me.
I think he was like 11-1. I think that day.
Yeah, he was a long shot.
Yeah.
So I look at him in the future book. He was actually listed.
Yep.
And I got him at like 50-something-1, and of course the rest is history. Goes off at 2-1. Still don't know how he didn't win the Triple Crown.
There are a lot of conspiracy theories out there about that. But you know what's funny about that day? I was telling this to the horse racing gentleman at Fox yesterday we were talking about Belmont and how he had been there for like 9 failed Triple Crowns, and Big Brown was one of them. And I go, the funny thing was that day, a friend of mine was like, I don't know who's going to win. All I know is Dennis of Cork is going to run well and finish in the money. So our main bet was Dennis of Cork, all Dennis of Cork, all Dennis of Cork, wheeled him in the try. Yeah. You got a dead heat for third, and Big Brown completely out, and you got the Tar at 40-something-1.
I don't know what was going on. He lost a shoe that day. It was all kind of foolishness going, man.
Chris Fallica, the Bear, now with Fox, joining us in studio. He's got some big dinner reservations here, so we appreciate you hanging out with us for a couple segments. You love, I always hear you talk about them, the futures cross sports. So you took some of your Football Friday winnings, and I know you were sprinkling around town. Mind letting us know some future crossovers you got?
What I did was I was hoping they did not post the French Open yet here, so I couldn't get. I was going to use Aegis Viatek in the women's side of the French Open as a single leg, but I have a four-legged parlay.
All right.
So I went 2 sides, which one of them's going to win. Eagles and Chiefs. So I took Eagles money line, and then I took the Chiefs plus 1.5.
Okay.
So Eagles win by 1. I'm alive.
You're alive on both. Yeah.
Then I took Manchester City and Arsenal in the Prem it's going to be one of those two teams. City's a dog right now, and they still have to play Arsenal twice, I believe. So there's still a legitimate chance that City can win. And then I went Masters. I went with obvious guys. I went Rahm, Morikawa, Schauffele, Scheffler, and who was the other one that I...
And then what's your...
And Rory, 6. Forget.
So you did 6 golfers. 6 golfers in the Masters.
And I think I named them all. I might have forgotten one. I can't. Oh, Cam Smith. That was the other one. Yep, that was the other one I missed. And then I went with 7 teams in the NCAA basketball tournament because I think it's
wide open.
It's wide open, and this is the leg that I feel the least confident about because you never know. So I tried to mix in a couple of different teams. I didn't use Kansas because it's so hard to repeat.
Yeah.
Tennessee, been there, done. I had a big ticket on the Vols last year.
Not a big Barnes believer.
At an awesome number, and it just
I believed in them too.
They crushed me last year, so I don't have Tennessee, but I think Houston is the best team.
I hope so. I got 22 to 1 on them.
That's an awesome number. So I got Houston, I got UCLA, I got Arizona, I got Alabama.
Ooh, nice.
I got Texas. I got TCU, and Creighton is my longest price.
All right, love it.
So we wheeled those around, reinvested some of the money that.
If Creighton can find a way to win this dinners on all, we're having dinner on everybody here. Chris, thank you so much.
Man.
Congratulations. That is Chris Fallica. Now with Fox, make sure to check out all his great work. At the Belmont, be fired up for that. It is VSiN Primetime.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.